What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. I'm Sean Ross Sapp. This is your WWE Royal Rumble 2026 post show. Lots happened tonight. Not as many surprises as one would expect, especially if you're a Fightful Select subscriber. We'll tell you about that a little bit later on. If you're here, leave a thumbs up, subscribe, tap that bell for notifications. We are live across so many platforms right now. My Facebook, Fightful's Facebook, our YouTube channel, our Twitch channel, my Jeremy Lambert, Fightful's X Twitter accounts, all that good stuff. Check us out on all those platforms, as well as Fightful Espanol if you speak the language. We've got that Twitter account back. We've been breaking some news over there as well. But WWE Royal Rumble 2026 in the books. I'm really interested in how our chat feels about it. Get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. Our great moderator, Luis, will take care of those and put them in our neat little document. But before we jump to the happenings of the Royal Rumble, let's talk about the not happenings of the Royal Rumble, because you guys at FightfulSelect.com have a bunch of scoops for you. Now, listen, I know a lot of you are like, why on earth would I ever pay for wrestling news? Well, if you're into that type of thing, myself, as well as the WrestleVotes crew, broke a bunch of news. WrestleVotes crew was on fire. They had Lola Vice, Sol Ruca, Mr. Iguana, LA Knight, Tiffany Stratton, all being in Saudi Arabia for this show after being off TV. Fightful Espanol confirmed Mr. Iguana. Ya Boy reported that the former Powerhouse Hobbs, now Royce Keys, would be there. We also reported in our Scoops thread today that there would be a double Grande Americano spot that would be happening. So lots of great stuff there. And if that wasn't enough for you, WrestleVotes did a nice Q&A before the show. I think I'll have mine tomorrow. We've got Sour Graps going on right now as well. Just tons of stuff at FightfulSelect.com. It is your favorite wrestling website's favorite wrestling news source. But Chris Jericho was not there. And I'll talk a little bit about this because a lot of people like outright expected him. And the reason why so many people had expected such a thing, I mean, we even had it on our contract updates or like last known resources section. It was the fact that in 2022, after Brawl Out, Chris Jericho, in solidarity with AEW, signed an extension that kept him through 2025. Now, AEW and pro wrestling companies are not at all like obliged to or obligated to disclose contract extensions, freezing, or anything like that. So just because there's no word or just because nobody has reported that the deal has been extended past December 31st doesn't mean that that isn't so. As of today, Chris Jericho is still listed on AEW's roster page, which is a great indication of if somebody is still with the company. And Chris Jericho has not left the company as of yet, whether it be because his deal got frozen or they extended it. That I don't know. He hasn't been discussed a lot backstage in AEW. But when I saw people outright saying, oh, his deal is officially up. No, it was not officially up. It was presumably up, and that was incorrect. So it's pretty interesting. His deal isn't up. I think that honestly, AEW is the best move for him. I think it's definitely the right place or actually, sorry, WWE is the right move for him. It's the right place for him. I don't think there's anything left for him to do in AEW, at least as of right now. I just don't see it as a good spot anymore. But get your super chats and humper chats in. Somebody says there were rumors that Jericho's deal is going to end in February. Not from anybody credible at all. Not from anybody remotely credible. John Hope says, at least there's AEW tonight. We do have a post show for that as well. I do think that, despite the sentiment of this show, by and large, they did a good job of making it unpredictable. Unless you are our good friends at MyBookie AG. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere. Our exclusive betting odds were brought to you by MyBookie. They had Obafemi as having the most eliminations in the Royal Rumble. I believe that was right. They had Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble. That was right. They had Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble. That was right. Drew McIntyre to win the title match and Gunther to end AJ Styles' career over at MyBookie AG. So listen, if you think it's predictable, you can head over there, put a little coin down, make some money betting on pro wrestling. We only want you to bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. But it's not just that. Got a big game coming, big football game coming next week. NBA about to head down like the very important stretch of the season. Of course, there's NHL going on. Before you know it, baseball's going to be back, my friends. Go over to MyBookie AG. Use the link in our description below. Use the code FIGHTFUL and get a great discount and a bet back bonus whenever you play. But hey, if betting on pro wrestling is so easy, go do it at MyBookie AG. So let's talk about the venue, because it was a very weird setup, right? Now, in addition, I am looking into what the labor situation was like as it relates to this stadium. We had reported on Fightful Select. They actually started the build of this on Christmas Eve, and it continued for the better part of a month. Now, again, there are a lot of labor concerns as it relates to Saudi Arabia and building all that stuff. I'm doing my best to figure that out. I don't want to I don't necessarily want to say that it did or didn't happen the way that one would fear or assume, but I'm working on finding that out. But there were some weird situations with the lights on top of the seats. So if you couldn't tell, like, it looked like it was completely empty behind the ring, and it just looked bad on TV. And it was as a result of the lights being above where your head sits on the chair. So people could be sitting there in the chair like this, and it'd be like my light up there. You would only see that because the light is shining out from behind you. Unless you're really tall and your head covers it up like that. It definitely affected, I feel like, the aesthetic, right? It definitely changed that. So, I have really no comprehension of how many people were there, and we're never going to know. It's a Saudi Arabia show, and WWE's getting paid their money anyway. And the reality is WWE doesn't care. They don't care that much. They got their money for this show, and it was worth it. Are they using the same stadium for WrestleMania? No, they're not. They're not. I would imagine they use something way bigger for WrestleMania. Orion Ben says, bad night for WWE cameras. Missed lots. They missed the Brie Bella thing. Yeah, I saw that. I don't know what was up with some of the production there. Prime Aether says, should I start betting on WWE? Seems like easy money with Triple H booking. I mean, at MyBookie AG, you should, buddy. Says, I also hate WWE knows fans will buy thousands of dollars for nosebleeds. They book the safe options. They did book some safe options. I didn't think that Liv was the safe option. I think that she should have won. That's who I believe should have won. We will talk about the individual elements of these matches as they occur, and this will definitely be addressed there as well. We've got Mike Cooper saying, I guess 2025 really killed all goodwill because after a decent start to the year, it seems like WWE made a concerted effort to just shit on everything they try or do. I can definitely feel the sentiment behind Roman Reigns like winning, and people are frustrated with that. I don't have an issue with Liv. I don't have an issue with Drew. I don't have an issue with Gunther. But that for it to end on that, I was like, okay. But how else are you going to end that show? They're just certainly not going to end it with the women because, quite frankly, women are just getting rights in Saudi Arabia. They're not going to end it on Gunther retiring or Gunther retiring AJ or Sami leaving either. So let's get to this show. Let's talk about it. 2026 Women's Royal Rumble match. You start off with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, which is a nice approach, not quite axe and smash, so to speak, of Demolition back in the day, but a good call because they have become a unit. It was, I think Kathy Kelly interviewed Charlotte ahead of this show and said, you have pursued singles gold for a long time, but you went on a detour And now you and Alexa are friends, and Charlotte makes sure to correct her and say best friends. So I like that they started out that way. I was very surprised to not see AJ Lee there. I thought for sure AJ Lee would be involved and be there to help set up a WrestleMania match with Becky Lynch. That didn't happen. WrestleVotes Radio on Fightful Select reported that is the direction they're going. There were some impressive spots early on. Kiana James had a Samoan drop on Nia Jax. Jordan Grace came in, and you can tell they are setting her up for that program with Jade Cargill because she got a good amount of time in the ring. She got the first 3 eliminations, and I think as a result, she had a tie for the second most eliminations. Charlotte accidentally eliminates Alexa after eliminating Nia. So I like that they're able to sew that story in at the very least. Becky and Charlotte go at it. This brawl element did not look good between them, but they did play off of history a little bit. Becky ended up tossing out Maxine, and we got Natty showing up, this is the first like in-ring appearance as the Natty character. Now, y'all know, listen, got a soft spot for Natty. That whole family's been good to me. I'm a catch wrestling guy. I've wanted something like this. She finally has her, at least Jim Johnston originated theme changed. It's now more of a Rage Against the Machine inspired theme. But there's a lot more with the Natty thing than I thought that they were going to do here. I thought that she would probably eliminate Maxine, and that was it. I didn't expect her to eliminate Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch to like put her feet up like that. And I'll read this super chat as our moderator does not have it in the document. It says Seth has to talk to Becky. She's way too big of a star for that embarrassing elimination. She needs to regain some credibility going into Mania. I mean, listen, I believe that Becky thinks a lot of Natty and wants to help her establish this character. Everybody on that team likes Natty. And most people out there watching this show don't know what Natty is capable of because she's just never been booked that way. And I think that this might be one of her last opportunities to get that. So I'm excited for her as someone that I know. And I want to be able to show that. WWE also loves these oh, look, here we are, face-offs, right? They love those. It was Lash Legend and who else tonight? And then they had Brock and Oba and just everybody. And they look at the crowd and they kill time. And then somebody comes in and hits them. I'm just like, damn, man, can we have a Rumble with not one of those? We had Chelsea come in. A lot of inspired gear. Name some in the chat, by the way, if you all know of some. But I know there was Shigo from, I think, was it Kim Possible for Roxanne? Chelsea Green had Taylor Swift and Statue of Liberty inspired stuff. EO used the yellow Power Ranger thing. And I saw somebody saying MAGA WWE using Rage Against the Machine is just silly. Don't think they know what Rage Against the Machine stands for. Well, they're not using Rage. They're using a knockoff of Rage. But also, I believe the bassist from Rage Against the Machine is good friends with Dana White. And there is no more machine than Dana White. You know what I mean? I always found that very ironic that was Dana White's favorite band. Chelsea backhanded Liv hard as hell, bro. Damn. Cracked her up good, dude. Filthy. Sol Ruka is in the match. Fightful Select reported that one. Also have a great interview with her up about the finisher of the year, which got a lot of play, both good and bad in this match. There was a great one off the ropes that she did. And it seems like Sol Ruka is being tasked with the Kofi Kingston, John Morrison, Naomi spot, right? The acrobatic elimination save spot. You got JC Jane, Kalani Jordan. This was more of a highlight of NXT talent than it was actual surprises. But we did get Brie Bella coming back, and then production completely missed her coming out. Like, you don't see her on the ramp whatsoever. You just hear Brie mode, all that shit, and she's just running down. And I was like, okay, like, regimes change, but still they miss entrances here. Whatever. The Soul Snatcher on JC, incredible spot though. Tiffany Stratton is back. Yeah, boys. Fightful Select reported that. You got Kyrie eliminating Asuka accidentally. By the way, Brie did get a nice pop there as well. But you've got Kyrie accidentally eliminating Asuka. And I'm very interested to see what comes of that, because I think at some point, I mean, first off, you need talent in the tag team division like Kyrie and Asuka. But also, at some point, Kyrie has got to get sick of being mistreated and screamed at and all that. JC Jane, I think I mentioned that. JC Jane, Kalani Jordan are in this. Liv Morgan ends up eliminating Natty. Those are the only two women to be in every Royal Rumble match. Kind of wild that anybody still has been. Because, I mean, it's wild that there's been that many. There have been, like, gosh, what, 8 or 9 now? But Lash Legend ends up eliminating both Bellas and Charlotte. I know that she was really high on the MyBookie odds for most eliminations as well. She had a very good showing. That they, like, Io. I mean, she eliminated Io too, where Io had that. I feel like it was like an Achilles hold on her hanging from the apron, and then Lash just kind of kicks her off. I mean, that's a big elimination there. And Charlotte ends up going almost an hour. But I mean, there were a lot of people, a lot of big names in this Royal Rumble, and eliminating some of those big names was big. Lash was number 3 on elimination rankings on MyBookie AG. So you could have made a little bit of money there if you bet on that. Rhea ends up eliminating her, but oh my God, what about that Raquel elimination of Rhea? Did you all see that freaking Tahana bomb that she did? Just cracked down onto the apron, and the refs immediately check on her. That was filthy, bro. Ends up being Soul, Tiffany, Liv, and Raquel in the final 4. Liv eliminates Raquel. There were a lot of story-based eliminations, right, across these 2 Royal Rumbles. A lot of story-based eliminations. So Liv's going to have to reckon with Raquel. Obviously, it ended up paying off for Liv because she won this match. But let me tell you guys about how much I hated this finish. And I'm not talking about Liv with the Oblivion, whatever. They had Sol Ruka setting up for a Soul Snatcher off the post. Huh? You do not get bonus points for doing a cool elimination. There was one way that could have ended, and it wasn't well. And this is why they had Sol Ruka run right into her elimination. What? Why? Why does this happen? Who lets that get by in a producer meeting? Like, who, while they're auditioning or rehearsing rather that match, says, yeah, that spot, that makes a lot of sense? No, it doesn't at all. And there's an awful lot of stuff in these 2 Rumble matches that did not make sense. But Liv Morgan winning the Royal Rumble, as favored by MyBookie AG, was something that made sense. I think Liv was the right winner. Tiffany getting, a prominent spot. I like that as well. She hasn't been on TV since losing the title to Jade. But Liv has always been the bridesmaid, never the bride, with the Royal Rumble. And again, Yeah, boys. FightfulSelect.com and WrestleVotes Radio reported that WWE wanted Liv Morgan to be a centerpiece of the women's division at WrestleMania, and here she is winning the match. Now, who's she going to face? If it's Jade Cargill, Liv's going to have to put her working boots on. If it's Stephanie, that could be a good match. That could be a good match. I think it's probably going to be Stephanie. I think it will be Liv leapfrogging Stephanie. I mean, they could go Raquel. Raquel gets a title shot anyway. They could go that way, and that could make sense for a women's title match there. It's not going to main event or close the show, but it could make sense. I don't think the end of this was put together well at all. No Saraya. This was not considered. She was not there. I actually dropped her a message, and I was like, you posting the training footage 2 days before Royal Rumble, and it gets sent to me 10 times in 10 minutes. She's like, that's what I live for. Just trolling. Go figure. Go figure, right? No Bianca Belair. I can't say definitively she's still injured. I don't know her injury status at this stage. I'll say the same thing I've said before. They thought that the finger would heal up by now. It's a knuckle. She's shown it. It like kind of blew up. And she didn't act like it was a big deal that day, but that's because she's tough. Like people were kind of gawking at it at WrestleMania. And here we are 9-10 months and she's still not able to wrestle, or she's taking some time off. You got Montez Ford working NXT live events this weekend. Like, all right. All right. I am Crush NC says, oh, brother, that shit stunk. Feel like I wasted so much time for nothing to change or anyone else to be made. I do think that Liv definitely got established more. Everybody remembers a Royal Rumble winner. And I do think that is important. Gunther, listen, you cannot sit here and act like Gunther is not in a more prominent spot than he was 2 months ago. That guy has been world champion and needs something else to do. Official Flame Inc. says the show was kind of I would agree with that. I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people are saying personally, but I definitely think it could have been better. I'll tell you how it could have been better for you by going to nordvpn.com/Fightful. That's right. If you watch this show on ESPN Unlimited, you could have watched it on Netflix with nordvpn.com/Fightful. Deals start at an average of less than $3 per month. I had 1 million people say, how do I watch this show? How do I watch it? I got to be honest with you. It was confusing for me to log into Hulu on Chrome because you Google Hulu, you're sent to a login page or a sign up page. It's a mess. It's a mess. So here's an easy way. Netflix just wants your subscription. So you get nordvpn.com/Fightful. You log in via Netflix. After you change your virtual location, you can watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and PLEs, as well as Saturday night's main event on YouTube. You can watch UFC pay-per-views with Paramount Plus, a fraction of the price you're paying for pay-per-views overseas. Usually it's the other way around. But now you overseas people can take advantage of all the UFC deals on Paramount Plus as a result of that one subscription. AEW pay-per-views, a fraction of the price. You can change your in-market games, all that good stuff. 30-day money-back guarantee, works on all devices and operating systems. Go to nordvpn.com/Fightful and let us know in the chat if you're using NordVPN. Look at this. Look at this. I watched on Netflix International. I used NordVPN, code Fightful. Thank God for NordVPN. We love them, man. We love those fellas. Love them. Listen, guys, an underwhelming day of wrestling beats a good day of a lot of things. Just got a message from Bandito. Thank you for the award, amigo. Look at that. Fightful Award still getting some love. Look at that. Biggest winner was Saudi successfully sports washing. I was discussing this with one of my friends who was asked to do commission work as it relates to a Saudi personality. And she was like, "Hey, can you fill me in on like what the deal was?" And she was like, "Oh my God. Yeah, this is definitely a part of the sports washing element of things." And I completely understand why many of you might not feel comfortable enjoying these shows. Lucky Charm says Dominic needs to be back on TV Monday in the States, or what are we doing? Well, he's been sidelined with an injury. So, I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. I don't know if he's cleared or not. They were hoping he did not need surgery, but he's been sidelined. Ryan Adams says overall B- for the show. Fully expect Raquel to beat Stephanie on Raw, and we do the Judgment Day 3-way at Mania. It would be kind of cool if Raquel beats Stephanie, and then maybe Roxanne wins the chamber and you get the 3-way. But, like, boy, that really just leaves Stephanie out in the cold, right? Noise says the women's rumble showed us a lot of the younger talents, especially Kiana. Raquel and Lash's Haas off was fun. Really happy Liv finally won. Hated this was in Saudi though. Thank you for supporting charity. Yeah, I listen, that is important to me that we do not keep the proceeds of these Saudi shows. And listen, a lot of people will, like, I've had a lot of Saudi people that say that it's an attack on the Saudi people. No, but we are going to donate. Not only are we going to donate the super chats from tonight, I'm going to match that to the International Justice Mission. You can also donate on their website. Cool Fool says, random question. If Brie Bella stays for WrestleMania, do you think TK would allow Bryan Danielson to attend Hall of Fame as her +1? AEW people are already allowed to attend the Hall of Fame as a +1. So yes, they would. Flame Inc. says anyone who puts themselves on the, oh boy. Luis, take Flame Inc.'s chat and put it on the main event, please. Ben says, who will be the main event? That won't go to Liv or any women for that matter. So, again, this probably could have been on the main event segment here, moderator, but definitely Roman Reigns. I would like it to be Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I would love Roman Reigns and CM Punk. If you had to do that, I don't want Roman and Cody. I would prefer, honestly, Punk and Cody or something like that. I just don't know of any super interesting Roman Reigns world title programs right now, which we'll get into it. Comic-Con Scott says, Soul eliminated by a snatcher in the wrong place. Oba eliminated by not watching his back. Both rookie mistakes. Made sense on that level for me. Oba's did for me because he was also in the match for a long time. And again, I will ask our moderator, please, if you get super chats that are about something that we haven't covered yet, please apply it to that. But with Soul, it was just a nonsensical spot. Anthony Velasquez says, not Royal Rumble related, but what happened with Joe Hendry? Thought he was, well, that was there until it was gone. So again, I will ask our moderator to put that back. He says, oh, okay, there we go. Thought he was called up to NXT or called up to SmackDown, but he's just been working NXT lately. Did they change their mind on his call up? I know there had been pitches and discussions for him to do SmackDown. I know that WrestleVotes had heard that, but I'll ask them. I'll see what we can follow up there. On that at least. So we've got, oh man, we're at that part. AJ Styles is leaving WWE. Man, so let's talk about the match. I love that Rudy Charles, aka Dan Engler, now refereed this match. And that was really cool and sentimental because Rudy Charles refereed a lot of his matches in TNA. Very cool. Early on, AJ gets a laceration on his arm. He's busted open as a result of it. He does some of his signature stuff, the big back body drop. He does the signature sell on that. He does the Pele kick. He does the calf cutter, the slingshot forearm to the outside. Springboard 450. Gunther hits a power bomb. Styles hits a power bomb. And then the Styles clash hits, but it's not enough. And AJ gets choked out. Now, I was actually surprised that AJ was finishing up here. I thought maybe it was a masterful swerve. Because I had heard that somebody on the roster was asked to not do a particular move because it was similar to one of AJ's moves. I was like, okay. But it's over. Fantastic match, by the way. Incredible match. They registered the career killer for Gunther. That's a great approach to take too. I see career killer versus legend killer in the future. But AJ Styles has done in WWE a poetic 10 years, a decade run. Started at Royal Rumble, finished at the Royal Rumble. And he takes off his gloves, then puts them back on. Now, it is never say never in wrestling. This is his last year. Maybe it won't be the last time he ever wrestles, but I can tell you all, like when I was talking to people in AEW, they had no idea. They hadn't heard anything, but everybody was speculating about it last week. There are people that I talked to, they think he's going to do something with TNA. We could do that with WWE. A number of months ago, we had reported that his WWE deal was set to expire in February. Now, a lot can happen in that period of time. I had people reporting that this week, and I was like, hold on. That was a report from like September, October, guys. But damn, man. I have watched AJ Styles since I was a child. It's just unbelievable. The career that he has had. He had definitive runs in TNA, in ROH, in New Japan, and WWE. And he was also in WCW. That's where I first saw him. I was talking to Air Paris, his original partner, the other day, and we were speculating. We're like, is that going to be it? And let me see what Frank was saying to me. I know that he said that he just felt like it should be in the US. Yeah, he says it feels kind of abrupt for him. And he feels like that's the best wrestler in the world for 25 years. Feels like they do a big send-off. So it's hard for me to believe that he's done. He said, my WWE career. They were saying last match in WWE. However, I thought he was like a WWE guy. Very much seems like that. So we have Joel Wood saying, where do you see AJ officially ending his career? I think he could have his last match in TNA. I just think if he does it, I think he will do it throughout this year. I really do. Tim says, hey, SRS, any words on if Jimmy Uso or AJ Styles are joining AEW? Certainly it's being speculated in AEW. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was talking about it backstage at Dynamite this past week. Old Painty Can says, sup, Sean. Thanks for all your hard work. Best in the biz. I enjoyed the Rumble, but some baffling decisions. Percentage chance AJ goes to AEW. I'm going to say a good 35% chance. I will tell you there is a 95% chance that if his deal is up, they are making an offer to him. 95% chance. They will immediately have somebody gauge whether or not his contract is up. And if his contract is up, AEW will absolutely be making an offer. Ryan says, AJ and Jarrett at All In for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Championship. Very clever. You funny guy. No word on Jimmy Uso. He's been off the road for family stuff. Ostino says, is AJ going to retire? Or is he going to TNA or AEW? Is he staying with WWE? Because WWE is selling new merch of him. Well, I mean, they're for sure going to milk the retirement. Like, why not? Why not get some extra money out of it? He makes more money. They make more money. I'm not surprised about that. They will do like phenomenal career, 10 years of phenomenal, stuff like that. They will absolutely do that. Let me see the date of Royal Rumble 2016. And yeah, they sold merch for Cross and he was done. So yeah, just over 10 years. January 24th, 2016 was when he debuted. Could you see AJ in AEW or New Japan for a short run or even TNA? Tim, I could see him in any and all of them. I could see that. Honestly, I could see him working Bound for Glory. I could see him working All In. I could see him even maybe even wrapping up January 4th at Wrestle Kingdom. I could see a lot of those things. Do you think AJ is retiring, asks Matt Hennessy, like Shinsuke said, or does he do a few matches in TNA, AEW, New Japan? I do think that he does matches there. I do. Because of the wording, especially, and how a lot of, they were very careful about it, right? They didn't seem like they wanted to blow up his spot or make him seem like a liar. I think he does it. Glass-Eyed Merlin says, unpopular opinion, I'm tired of the same Gunther finish. Great match, yeah, but 40 of it is sleeper holds. Will he, won't he pass or not pass trope? I used to hate the sleeper hold. I'll tell you why I hated the sleeper hold. It wasn't a real move the way they did it. Back in the day, the Roddy Piper sleeper hold sucked, buddy. Just holding somebody there. And it can't be a choke, right? No hooks in, nobody working to get out of it, no turning your hips into somebody. Hated the move. Now it's become a rear naked choke, by and large. I'm okay with it. It's not the most exciting move in the world, but it is a protected move. I think too many people do it. I think far too many people seem to do the move, but I don't have a problem with that specific finish. Noise says, who do you want to see AJ against in AEW and other companies? Really want to see him against MJF and Bandito. Full on against Mike Santana and Leon Slater. In New Japan, Suji and Gabe Kidd. In AEW, I want to see Kenny Omega. That's the one, Kenny Omega, because Kenny kicked him out of Bullet Club. I want to see him against Takeshita, Ospreay, Swerve, everybody in AEW. Give me a speed run. Have him work all of them. He said he wanted to work people in those as well. Man, what's next for Styles and Jericho? I mean, Jericho's still under contract to AEW at this stage. So, that is what's next for him. Somebody says Hiroki Goto. That was in the G1 in 2014. So I've seen that match before. I was a big Hiroki Goto guy back then. And it was a pretty good match too. Pretty solid match. Sabrina says if AJ signs with AEW, he can do New Japan, win-win for AJ. Yeah, I think that he would keep it open-ended to where he could do his thing with TNA though. Do you see possible AEW and TNA matches and then returning to WWE as a producer or coach? Do you see Tony putting AJ on TV without a contract, knowing he could show up back in WWE the next week? I do think that he would have to have some sort of contract. I think that they would have to have some sort of secure deal in order to put him on television. So I expect an offer to be made. For sure, an offer is going to be made. Prime Eater says, can't wait for Triple H to come out Monday and say it's the start of a new era for the 10th time. There was certainly nothing about a new era tonight. Certainly not a new era tonight. Mr. CJ Lilly, our good friend, says any idea if Alexa Bliss was supposed to be eliminated when she was? Yeah, she was. That's to further the story between her and Charlotte Flair. And if she is Triple H actually happy she returned last year, as her booking says he isn't, and resents she gets the pops that she does? Is she female Miz to Triple H? Well, she's seen as a versatile performer to Triple H. She can do like a little bit of everything. And right now it made more sense to do the tag stuff. It's been a lot of stop and start for her. And I know you know that, Mr. CJ Lilly, is one of her big fans. They were obviously supposed to do a lot more stuff with Bray. And unfortunately, Bray got sick and we lost Bray. But I think that her being in the tag team division is a nice change of pace. And I think that's good. I think they should have done better with the Nikki Cross story as well. I don't think that Triple H has any issues with her. She played hardball on her return. They wanted her to come back last year on her old deal. And as a result, she stuck to her guns and she said, I want a new deal. She got her new deal and came into the Rumble. Yeah, I still, don't like how WWE handled that, where Triple H was like, don't listen to the dirt sheets. Guess she wasn't going to be here. Everything that Dave and Mike reported about that story was accurate. And as confirmed by her and her management subsequently, publicly. You didn't hear that this year, though. Fightful Select was all over it, my friends. Mr. Rules are asking, listen, I'm not going to answer personal information questions. Mr. Rules, sorry. I appreciate the question, but I'm not going to give anybody any like location information or anything like that. But he says, cheers from Italy. Says, do you think that with this new regime, the word retirement is really going to matter? Dare I say it matters more now than it used to. Because it used to be just everybody came out of retirement, right? Like everybody came out of retirement. And now, like, I don't think Batista's going to come out of retirement, even though that was a little bit before. Triple H isn't coming out of retirement because he can't. I do think that we'll probably see AJ wrestle in WWE again. I think that's possible. I think John Cena's done. I think retirement actually means more during this regime. Not to say that it will always be hard and fast, right? Old Painty Canned 5647 says, hey, Sean, no further comment. When I heard you were matching all the Humper chats, I thought I'd send again. But since I'm here, best hardcore championship match. I love the hardcore title. I always loved the one where they went out into was it the river? Like Hardcore Holly and all that stuff. I loved Crash Holly and the Headbangers at Funtime USA. I was a big, big, big fan of those. Just really loved it. Road Dogg and Al Snow had a really good one. Road Dogg really stepped up there. Jeff Hardy, RVD, Rhino and Raven slept on. Completely slept on. But I'll tell you what you're going to be sleeping on. Big Fat Boner, thanks to Blue Chew. And Blue Chew Gold. You already know what time it is. It's time to level up. You trying to go an hour? You trying to be that Iron Man? How about you be the Gold Man with Blue Chew? They just dropped something crazy. Blue Chew Gold is the newest innovation from the #1 chewable ED brand. This ain't your grandpa's little blue pill. It's a 4-in-1 beast that sets the standard, the gold standard for performance. We're talking 2 ingredients for blood flow to keep that rocket pumping. Apomorphine and oxytocin. It turns up the arousal and the connection in your brain and your body. It dissolves under your tongue, and Blue Chew Gold works in as little as 15 minutes. So it's ready whenever you are or whenever you're not. It means you can get it on quicker, stay in the game longer. It's elevation without hesitation. Peak passion and peak performance in a single tablet. We got a special deal for our listeners. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. Get 10% off your first month of Blue Chew Gold with the code FIGHTFUL. That's promo code FIGHTFUL. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast. Don't get your thing curb stomped and eliminated in a matter of seconds. Use Blue Chew Gold. Prime Ether says, seems like Nick Khan cares more about all of this than Triple H, but I could also be wrong. Oh, do you mean just like the general Saudi thing? I'm confused as what you mean, but thank you again for the super chat. Also, a reminder, guys, over on Fightful Select, we're going to have Kate and Alex with their Sands of Blind review, where Kate basically makes up things and Alex determines if they're a lie or not from this show because he doesn't watch the Saudi shows. Drew McIntyre defeated Sami Zayn to retain the championship. Man, they love Sami Zayn in Saudi, do they not? This is a solid match. It was okay. Definitely, like, I don't know. I don't know how I expected to feel about this match, but it was a lot of it definitely followed the formula of WWE title matches. Like 3 future shocks, you hit a claymore and your foot's on the rope, bam, haluva kick, you do a big table spot, you miss a haluva kick, you do a claymore, you kick out, miss another haluva kick, bam, claymore, and that's a wrap. It was okay. Best match of the night by far, Gunther AJ Styles. If you said this was the second best match of the night, I'd be like, yeah. But also, WWE title match being the shortest match of the night. Also, didn't quite expect that. I am like Drew McIntyre does reek of champion though, doesn't he? Like he has managed to stay relevant despite being put in positions of which he did not become champion. And to the point to where that last match with Cody, it's like, all right, man, is he going to win this or not? Because if not, it would have been hard to take him seriously at that top level. And he always finds a way back. He always finds a way back. And it's because of that perseverance of which he is in these spots. And now he's really excelling. I don't think that Sami Zayn losing here does anything to hurt him. He's lost like 8 or 9 world championship matches at this point. But C. Delgado says, at what point do people stop caring about Sami? At this point, his world title quest is like Lucy and the football. Yes, I hope they bring that up. I felt like they really were maybe considering putting a title on Sami when he was feuding with Killer Cross, right? Cross brought it up a lot. Cross definitely mentioned it way more than anybody else. And then after Cross left, it's like Sami was just, all right. I'll just settle for the U.S. title. And you go, all right. Prime Ether says, no, I mean like the wrestlers and stuff, because it seems like Nick Khan's the one who calls the wrestlers and makes the deals with them. So if talent relations can't get a deal done, they try to have Triple H get a deal done. And then if not him, they get Nick Khan to do the deal. When Ron Killings was coming back, he wasn't that interested in talking to Triple H. He had Nick Khan call him, and Nick Khan worked on that deal. That's just how it went. Multi-Class Geek says, Ospreay's always said how Daniels, AJ, and Joe in 05 made him want to be a wrestler. I say run it back at Wembley when Will was Daniels chosen, with Will as Daniels' chosen proxy. So that sounds awesome. That sounds incredible. I love that idea. And if you love that idea, here's a Fightful Select plug for you. I started my new show, SRS 10. It's a monthly show on Fightful Select for subscribers where you watch on screen with me. So we actually have the match playing. My favorite matches, ones that I've rated 10 out of 10. I don't publish my match ratings often, but I will declare when something is a 10 out of 10, which I consider perfect match, perfect segment. That was my first favorite match of all time. TNA Unbreakable, AJ, Joe, Christopher Daniels, and I'm going back and asking people in and around the match stories about these matches. So Simon says, I think he's going to TNA, being AJ. Him putting the gloves on is teasing that he's going to wrestle again. Why would they tease him going anywhere else? It certainly does seem like a tease he's going elsewhere. I'm with you, Simon. It feels like he is. They have made sure to say WWE career. He has said, there's a lot of guys in a lot of locker rooms I would love to wrestle. And I think I'd have to go back and see his wording. Like, did he say, but I want to keep this WWE thing going? Because I don't think he has outright said, yeah, I ain't wrestling anymore. Matt Hennessy says, if I'm a betting man, I think AJ does a few matches in TNA, New Japan, and AEW before returning to WWE to be a coach. I don't see him signing a contract with anyone. I just see him doing short runs in those three. Yeah, I could for sure see that. All the teases, all the terminology, all the things that have been mentioned certainly seem to indicate that as a real possibility. And I've got something more than a possibility. I've got a sure thing on your best night's sleep ever. You walking around like this all day? I was years ago. I needed a new mattress. I had a slab of memory foam. It was not good. I looked up the highest rated mattresses online and I found Helix Sleep. I took their online quiz that matched me up to the perfect mattress for me. This is during the pandemic. I didn't want to go around and sleep on a mattress a bunch of people have been rolling around on and all that. So I wanted something I knew I could trust. And they've got an incredible money back guarantee. They had payment plans that helped me out. Wasn't exactly rolling in dough at that point, but I wanted to invest in my sleep. I got matched up to the perfect mattress, and you can too. I hit them up after that, and I said, can we get in business? And they said, yeah. HelixSleep.com/Fightful is now a thing. And now it's not 30,000 plus 5-star reviews. It's 50,000 plus 5-star reviews. They have mattresses that will cool you down, ones that align your spine. They have one for kids mattresses as well. They have mattress toppers. They've got pillows. They have everything you'll need. They match it to your specific preferences to make sure you get that perfect mattress. They've won awards from Wired, Good Housekeeping, GQ, Forbes year after year after year. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. Invest in your sleep. Take that sleep quiz, get that lifetime limited warranty, and a 120-night sleep trial. If for some reason you don't like it, no questions asked, they will come pick it up for you. HelixSleep.com/Fightful. I've got one. My mom has one. My cousin has one now. A little bit of everybody are loving these. And again, flexible payment plans to help you out. Get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. Just like C. Delgado did. Not WWE related, but is Macklin firing a work? I think so. That would be real stupid if they let him go. He is a top guy. Like a tip-top guy should be in TNA. He is, I think, a guy that can be a big part of the brand. And he's very convincing as well. I don't think he's done there. 2026 men's Royal Rumble match. Oba Femi starts off. So they spoiled yesterday that Braun Breaker was going to be number one. They accidentally put that up on the screen, and they at least made a little bit of a pivot, which I really liked today, where Paul Heyman went and confronted Adam Pearce and said, oh, you thought you were funny. Like, after you put that up there, like, we knew something was up. So we got his number changed. And all of a sudden he's number 2. Like, who do you think you're fooling? I like that. So Oba Femi comes out. And then somebody attacks Braun Breaker. And it's meant to look like Seth Rollins, but no other way to put this. It was a black man. And by that, I do not mean a Tyler Black man. It was not Seth Rollins at all. Braun Breaker is thrown in and immediately eliminated. And I got to be real. It was kind of a disappointment. I immediately saw this and I just went, all right then. John Wick says, does Triple H hate Braun or something? Like at some point, what is the hesitation to show that he is a guy? Somebody says looked a bit like Mox weirdly. It's because he did the neck thing. It wasn't him. It was a black man. Montez was at an NXT live event last night. So if it was him, he got over there really quickly. And High Rail Harden says, who's your favorite to win the Elimination Chamber? Braun. I would like to think so. But as of this point, why should we have any real confidence in the booking of Braun Breaker? He seems like the easiest guy in the world to book, right? And they just have not seemed keen on booking him as this guy. It seems like they want him to need help. I don't know. Thank you for this nice comment. Again, like they've got their greatest crew of sirloin beef sons of bitches right now. Tim says looked like Adam Pearce. It was not Adam Pearce. But it's interesting to me, after Bill Alphabet says, seems like the black hoodie has become sentient. Yes. It just takes you over like Venom and Carnage, the symbiote or symbiote, whatever it is. But also interesting is who wasn't in the Rumble. Simon says, how the hell wasn't Kit Wilson in the Rumble? How do you mess this up? You had to have La Parka in the Rumble and not even the one everybody knows, right? How do you not have Kit Wilson in the Royal Rumble? How? What? This guy is over like crazy. I'm looking into this Royal Rumble thing, by the way, because people are saying, unless they rub dirt all over that man's hands, he did not have white hands, y'all. Hate to tell you. I'm not buying it. You had to have The Miz in this instead of Kit Wilson? Whatever, man. Whatever. Spitball the Coffees says Carmelo Hayes can't get a Rumble spot, but the last few people he beat can? Huh? Why not make it as interesting as possible? We just wasted spots on La Parka and The Miz. Honestly, there weren't that many wasted spots. Matt Cardona just came back. Got no problem with that. Other than that, I don't have any real issues with the spots in the Rumble. Like, who got the spots? But if you're Rusev, how are you feeling right now? You ain't been on TV in months, and you come out and you get eliminated in under a minute. Mr. Iguana, La Parka entered to complete silence. Okay. Obafemi eliminated the first 5 competitors and then nobody else. Nobody else at all. He got left alone twice, which I thought was really cool. But then he got eliminated by Brock Lesnar. And if this is to set up Oba versus Brock at WrestleMania, well, good. Oba should win that. And then after that, Gunther should be like, you know what? You've lost it. You don't have it anymore. Me and you for your career at SummerSlam. And Gunther should beat him and choke him out as well. That should absolutely happen, by the way. Brock Lesnar was reckless as hell in this match. Go back and look at that suplex that he did to Cody Rhodes directly onto his shoulder. I hope Cody's okay. He seemed okay. But my God, he just smashed Cody's shoulder all up with one of the sloppiest, laziest suplexes I've ever seen. You were a college wrestler. You can't bridge a little bit. Take care of the guy. For the love of God. I felt horrible for Cody. And what are you going to do? What can you do? Cody can go back and complain. Okay, what's going to happen to Brock? Nothing. Literally nothing stops. We have seen that. He's named in an amended lawsuit, and that doesn't matter. Because he dropped somebody on their shoulder, that's going to stop him? No. Whatever. If they're setting this up, I hope it's Oba beating Brock Lesnar. If they have Brock Lesnar beat Oba Femi, it is a miscarriage of justice, certainly in a company among many of miscarriage of justices, but it is promotional malpractice. The picture on Fightful shows a dude with white hands, and it looks like Pierce's watch too, also donating more money for you to match. All right, bro, I'm going to just pull it up. I'm just going to pull up this picture. Let's go to it. I'm sorry, guys. I watched the video. These do not look like white hands to me. Under no circumstances do those look like white hands to me. Let's zoom in. Let me get some zoom action going here. Sorry for the audio listeners. By the way, we're on audio platforms everywhere. Make sure you guys subscribe. I do not think so. These do not look like Caucasian hands to me. Not like it matters. It's not going to be the person under that mask anyway. Like they've done that before. Like they do not care. They'll just switch it to avoid people like me figuring it out. But yeah, I do not think that those are white hands, my friends. Anyway, Trick Williams got the first non-Oba Femi elimination. Nope, it's not Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks was at NXT events. We got the El Grande and El Grande spot, including the Spider-Man point. You boys at FightfulSelect.com reported that one. It wasn't Santos Escobar either. Santos Escobar was at an NXT as well. But El Grande and El Grande, now we've got that feud. Good to see that Chad Gable is back. That was a fun spot. Iguana and La Parka got no reaction. Trick Williams got the first non-Oba elimination. He did well, but then Cody eliminated him. Let me tell you about one of my issues with Royal Rumble matches. Why, as an agent or a producer, do you say to Javon Evans, yeah, Javon, why don't you jump over the top rope while doing these spots? Huh? How do you say to Jey Uso, hey, yeah, Jey Uso, when you run that back in the Rumble, make sure you jump up to the second rope? Flame Inc. says anyone who puts themselves on the top rope should be immediately tossed out. Either a move or taunt. It's the dumbest thing to do in the Rumble. Go up and get tossed. For F's sake, stop doing that. Drove me nuts. I don't mind him running it back in the Rumble. I liked the Too Cool spot. I liked Ernest Miller getting in there and dancing around. I'm good with that. I'm good with the fun little spots. I'm glad Roman hit him the next time, but Javon Evans jumping over the top rope? Jey Uso climbing to the second rope? Sol Ruka doing the soul snatcher to the outside? Where is the logic and the psychology as it relates to this? It's so frustrating to watch. I'll tell you what isn't frustrating to watch. Powerhouse Hobbs, a guy that I like a lot personally. We reported that he was leaving AEW, that he was signing with WWE, that he was traveling to Saudi, and he was playing for the Rumble. Sorry, Hobbs. Sorry. He debuted, and they had Powerhouse Hobbs up on the screen. Powerhouse is an AEW trademark, I'm pretty sure. I'm shocked they used that. I would have been less surprised if it was Hobbs than to Royce Keys. Now, I posted the meaning of the name, and it is his youngest son's name, and it is his late mother's maiden name. And I think the world of Hobbs. There are a lot of listen, I get along with most wrestlers. I have a good relationship with most wrestlers, but when my grandmother passed away, he reached out to me and didn't have to do that and said, I can relate to this. I lost my mother a couple years ago. I hope you're doing good. And I'll never forget him mentioning her name. And then I see that it is his ring name is Royce Keys. And I'm like, well, I'm glad that's his name because I can tell that meant something to him. And it is a way to keep somebody's legacy alive. Because when you lose somebody, it's kind of up to you to make sure they're not forgotten and keep their legacy alive. And I'm very happy about that. Very happy about that. It takes all of the vision to eliminate him, which I think goes well. He eliminated Damian Priest as well. So nice showing, not as long as I would have thought, but yeah, I'm glad to see him there. I know that's a place where he wanted to be, and that's what he's doing. And AEW offered him a lot of money to stay. The report that Dave Meltzer had this week, very much in line with what I've heard. LA Knight is back. Yeah, boys at FightfulSelect.com. WrestleVotes Radio had that one. Great reaction. Eliminates Bronson in theory. Cody and LA Knight eliminate Brock as well. Dragon says, thanks for saying it. I thought Brock didn't give an F to. Yeah, he was dangerous. Glad to see him not win this match. If you just want him to be in that, sure, whatever. Mr. Showtime BJB says, posted on your Braun Facebook post. I think it was Theory personally. Well, it wasn't at that moment. It wasn't Austin Theory because he was getting ready. I mean, I guess he could have done it and been in the Rumble match. And, you know, Logan Paul and everybody like scheming behind Braun Breaker's back. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been that. Brian Mahoney says, Sean, been a long time. Well, good to see you. He says, got to say this. Yeeting during matches 3+ times has to stop. Keep it to the entrance. Just makes me hate it with a passion now, and I know I'm not alone in feeling that way. I always hate it when Penta does this 42 times in a match, which he's done a lot less of, right? All that shit. I don't like it. I think it should cost you matches. I think the producer should say, man, cut that out. Like, if you want it to be a psychologically smart spot, then do it. GB, or actually, Halftime Orange just says Brock getting eliminated mid-yeet was a choice. It was. Yeah, Brock was walking in the Oba exchange, by the way. Glad that Roman baited Jay with the yeet saying. Cody gets eliminated because Drew kicks him. That shouldn't be allowed. I don't like that. That's one of my least favorite things about a Royal Rumble is when people who are not in the match can eliminate people. So why wouldn't like all your ops just, man. Sorry, I was trying to get scoops from Carl Anderson, who says he knew that AJ was going to lose. But I don't think you should be able to eliminate people when you're not in the match. That's lazy, man. Tim Traver says, did the wrestling ring sound like the old WCW ring tonight? A little bit. A little bit. Check out Tim Traver's Diecast Collective, by the way. Anyway, Roman tosses out Jacob and Jay. Somebody says, Sean is scared to talk about the crowd. I would be too, though. Well, hey, jackass. You can scroll back about an hour and 4 minutes, and you'll hear me talk about the crowd and the lights on the seats and how it looked out there and the reactions and lack of reactions. You want me to bring it up 17 times? Ain't covering everybody's reaction, pal. Scared of what? The Saudis coming to get me? Is the Crown Prince going to beat me up for saying that the crowd wasn't loud? I don't know. We got Logan, Roman, Orton, and Gunther as the final four. Gunther eliminates Orton. It seems too easy for me to do career killer versus legend killer, right? Now, I don't think that Randy Orton is retiring at all, but I think that naturally makes sense to do that match at WrestleMania. Why wouldn't you? But I mean, how do you do it without putting Randy Orton's career on the line? Because like he still wants to go. He wants to go for years and years and years. So I'm interested in how they kind of work that in. Gunther does eliminate Orton. Thank God Logan Paul didn't win this. I was like, that is such a WWE thing to do. And then Roman wins. And I got to be honest, I'm not interested in Roman Reigns at the top of the championship picture for WrestleMania. I've got no real desire to see it. Still getting lots of wild messages from this one, but it's such a very WWE thing to do. Sorry, Demon Diva. Sorry. It was a very WWE thing to do. Even though people are they want to see him do a little bit of something else. He wins it. At least Demon Diva's happy, and I'm happy for her. Let's get to these super chats and humper chats. Richard says, Sean, I'm at a point where all the old guys ate to the top of the cards with Roman winning. This could have been time to build new stars. Kind of done with the same guys in the main. I would have had Braun Breaker or Obafemi win this. I would have had them win this. And one LT says, why does Roman need a device win? Why? I agree. As Stoned Immaculate says, wished Oba was in the final four. He got eliminated in an uneventful way. Can't imagine Mania 43 in Saudi. Feels like the energy is going to be bland. I think they are going to do their best to build Oba over the next year, and they're going to make that crowd a lot better. Look, Demon Diva in here. You like jobbers. It's all good. I wanted Obafemi to win. I thought the final four could have been Brock, Oba, Braun, Roman. Bunch of meat. Brian Mahoney. Actually, we said that. We got that one. Anthony Velasquez says, didn't care for this year's Rumble. Very predictable. The surprises were meh. I might be in the minority here. I don't think Roman should have won. I don't think Roman should have won either. A lot can happen between now and then. But I am a traditionalist as it comes to the Royal Rumble. I like it when the person who wins the Royal Rumble gets a shot at WrestleMania, just them. I did not like it in 1997 where it went back and forth and it's final four and then the title switches beforehand. It was honestly, the creative was pretty good. At the time, I didn't like it. But if you go back at the creative and you had Austin helping Bret Hart to try to win the world title, it was very good. I did not like 1999 with Vince McMahon winning. I didn't like 2000 when it turned into a four-way. I didn't like it 08 or whatever year when Cena won the Rumble and then said, well, I want the title shot in February or a triple threat at Mania. I didn't like that. I like the traditional element of it. I think you need to rely on that. Parker says, what did you think of Roman's comments about creative? Did he watch Unreal Season 2 too? Because it looked like it. I was a little bit surprised that Roman was that transparent about it, but creative was not good last year. I had current and former WWE stars sending me voice messages last night about how bad they felt the creative was last year. Now, I do feel like WWE had a real turnaround the last few weeks. I think they've done a lot better and been more consistent. Chris says, do you think the Saudis stopped Kip because his character isn't exactly their cup of tea? And someone had mentioned, isn't he a little gay coded for Saudi? No, not really. No. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I just don't think that they made a good decision and used him. Ayo says, Braun Breaker needs a 2003 Elimination Chamber Goldberg type of match. Dominate the match and wins it. Yes, I agree. And he also says, if it ain't a four-way with Cody, Roman, Drew, and Jacob for the titles at Mania, I don't want it. Average at most kind of Rumble. I just don't have a great interest in seeing Roman Reigns compete in a singles match for a title at WrestleMania. Maybe if it's against CM Punk, but like they sort of did that last year. If it's against Drew, well, we've seen that a bunch. I don't know, man. Something's going to change between now and Mania. I don't think it's Roman against either one of those one-on-one. Do you think Roman winning was a case of the Endeavor board getting involved in creative? No. I think this is probably a Triple H Nick Khan decision. And yeah, I was surprised to see Roman call out the creative. I really was. But sometimes you got to do that. Get your super chats and humper chats in. If any have been missed, let us know, and Luis will pick them up. Somebody says it looked like Adam Pearce. It was not Adam Pearce. But we do have three more. We have Glass-Eyed Merlin, Ayo. Actually, we read that one. And Friend Will Gaming. But Friend Will Gaming says, is it time to admit Mr. I don't see color hates making new young stars instead of black stars, or especially black stars? Brock is more important to him. I will reserve judgment on that until we see WrestleMania. If that does not lead to Obafemi facing and beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, then I would be like, what are we doing here, man? Glass-Eyed Merlin says, at this point, WWE's higher-ups hate LA Knight. Pop of the night, water is wet. Still over for the past 3 years despite getting screwed, and they give it to Roman. Yay. Well, I didn't think that Roman was good. I didn't think LA Knight was in position to win this. I do think LA Knight will win the world championship one day, even if it's for a short period of time. I think that he is going to stay so over that they have to. Even if it's like a very short period. I think LA Knight's going to get that recognition. He is too perpetually popular to be ignored in those situations, in my opinion. So I think it's going to happen. Somebody says Roman was kayfabing, in my opinion. I mean, that's like some weird meta kayfabe thing, right? Like, to do that, like, why would you do that? That's not a part of kayfabe. So I wouldn't do that at all. I think that's a bad idea. Very bad idea. We are checking on this super chat, but I want to thank our wonderful sponsors, Blue Chew Gold, Helix Sleep, NordVPN, MyBookie, as well as Fightful Select. I know a lot of you are like, why on earth would I pay for wrestling news? I promise you, we've got an incredible community over there. We've got, I'll start from a typical Monday. Every Monday, you get a live Q&A show with WrestleVotes, one of the top news breakers in wrestling. I've got wrestling news, exclusive news, every single day. We've got Select Answers, which is our Q&A articles, every day. I lean heavily into that. In addition to my Q&A podcast, I lean heavily into that because I specifically want to get answers that you guys want. So that's very important to me. But it doesn't stop there. We got shows all week. Sour Graps multiple times a week. I do bonus shows over there. SRS 10, where we rewatch a match I've rated 10 out of 10. Exclusive preview prediction shows. Betting odds shows over at Select. We also have an exclusive Discord and so much more in the archives. Found some of the super chats that we have missed. A wrestling historian says, "What's your favorite Linkin Park song?" Thanks, bro. My December is my favorite Linkin Park song. Although Linkin Park adjacent, it's going down with the Executioners, which honestly, it's more like a Fort Minor song than a Linkin Park song. I love that, but My December is my favorite. Can we please unite Penta and Phoenix? They seem keen on putting Penta with any lucha that is not Phoenix. What's the deal? At what point does this just happen? It's ridiculous. Noise says, "I'm glad the Rumble started at 2 or I would have been so pissed. Lost all excitement for the Rumble after Obo was knocked out by an allegations guy." And understandably so. Also, I love afternoon wrestling. Give me afternoon wrestling all day. And Simmons says, "I felt bad for Rusev, but at the same time, has to be an ego check, especially after the Dave report. Enough of Logan in the top 4." Yeah, I don't have the heat for Logan that I think that they want me to have for him. He's an apt performer. He is no longer like a guy everybody looks at and goes, "Oh my God, he's amazing." Because now his matches aren't being planned out like way ahead of time. He's getting more of a reasonable amount of time to prepare for it. But he's fine in his current role. But listen, as a guy who did the humble gimmick on the Indies and on Fightful programming, I don't know that he is leaning enough into that. He just seemed like the same guy. Do you know if Hobbs got a fair deal with WWE? Because I know they can still get away with paying less because of it being my dream. I wish him the best. Wonderful human. He thought that it was the better long-term decision for him. I believe AEW eventually offered him more money. Now, if you listen to people in AEW, they might think that it's calling his bluff, but it was a decision he thought hard on. He kept it very close to the vest. I know there were some people out there claiming like in September it was like happening, but I was told adamantly by people around him it wasn't. But he's there now, and that's what matters. I think he's going to do really well there. Noise says Women's Rumble showed a lot of the younger talents, especially Kiana, Raquel, and Lashes Hassoff was fun. I read this one earlier. Hated it was in Saudi. Really happy that Liv won. Thanks for supporting charity. Well, thank you for supporting charity. First off, that means an awful lot. And thank you to our moderator, Luis, who gathered these super chats, Humper chats. If you all haven't seen it, go look at Jordan Grace's Instagram reel or tweet where they do the Power Rangers Morphin time thing. Phenomenal. Guys, thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to have more scoops throughout the week. Please support us at FightfulSelect.com. I have Gabby on this week on the hump of the Gabby AF pod. We've got a bunch of guests. We had Chris Van Vliet on this past week as well. I will be at Circa Las Vegas WrestleMania week, the official hotel of Fightful. They got a lot of great events going on there. Wednesday night, I don't know if it's officially announced, friend of mine, Naomi, is doing an art show there. You've seen her paint art for so many wrestlers, The Rock, Paul Heyman, tons of AEW people. Thursday, Chris Van Vliet does his live show. Very excited to be there for that. Friday, our good friend Denise Salcedo has Shotzi on her live show at Circa. Tons of wrestlers stop by there. It's off the strip, so come take a little break from all the wildness on the strip and join us at Circa at this incredible venue. Guys, I want to say thank you to all of you that have super chatted and supported a good cause. Until next time, we're out.